Zarya, Unity, and Zvezda. This is the untold history of the International Space Station. Now, before I begin on the history and the inspiration for this Lego set, I'm going to begin by telling you a story about myself as a child. Don't worry, it's not long. Growing up in a small town far away from city lights, nights were dark, and on any given cloudless night, you could look up at the sky and see an endless blanket of stars. Look hard enough and you could even see the faint outline of the Milky Way. It was on one of these chilly autumn nights that my father brought me and my sister to our grandparents to watch the International Space Station fly overhead. Now, my grandparents' home, it's nestled in a valley, and it lets you see miles of sky above. I had no idea what to expect, and I gotta confess, I didn't understand why it was such a big deal to begin with. I remember looking up, waiting in anticipation, expecting to see some small blinking light pass overhead, the same as a plane at night, or perhaps a tiny pinprick of light similar to a satellite listlessly flying overhead. After what felt like a lifetime, though, we finally saw it. It moved faster than any plane I had seen fly in the sky, and it was brighter than any satellite. The ISS moved into our eye line, and just as quickly, moved out. With these speeds I couldn't even comprehend, we watched it fly overhead and off to the horizon. "Would you look at that?" my grandfather said. It was then I learned why the ISS was so special. My father, still looking at the sky in awe, said, "Believe it or not, there are people living on that right now, and they are going to help us understand the universe." That was over 20 years ago, and so much has changed since then. It began in 1984. President Ronald Reagan stood before Congress and delivered a speech like no other. In it, he directed NASA to develop a permanently manned space station, and using imagery of our past to usher in a vision of the future, he declared, "As the oceans opened up a new world for clipper ships and Yankee traders, space holds an enormous potential for commerce today." He gave them 10 years to complete the task. Now, the ISS, it needed to be more than just a simple space station. It needed to be a bridge, one that connected whole countries and spanned over the expanse of space rather than open water. The purpose was to invite countries to cross this bridge and work in unity together, all with the purpose of furthering our knowledge and understanding of the vast openness of space for the betterment of us all. Now, to give you a little history, while the ISS is the first permanently manned station, it is hardly the first station. It isn't even the second. I won't go into too much detail on early space stations. It's something you can easily look up yourself, but concept designs existed long before the idea of the ISS ever came into play. These ranged from the mundane to being heavily inspired and influenced by sci-fi in their designs. Ultimately, however, a design that was more practical than fanciful was chosen. It would be a combination of modules and nodes developed through cooperation with other nations. In the beginning, it was just with Russia, and then other countries to follow soon after. It began with the 3 modules, Zarya, Unity, and Zvezda. Zarya, a Russian word meaning dawn or sunrise, launched November 20th, 1998, followed shortly after by the US connecting node Unity, which not only connects segments of the station together, but is also where the crew eats. Finally, with the Russian service module Zvezda, which means star, being added in July of 2000, the station was complete enough to be finally livable. NASA's Bill Shepard and cosmonauts Yuri Gidchenko and Sergei Krikalev became its first crew. The 3 units would all come to be located in the aft section of the station. Over the next 2 decades, the station would see the addition of more nodes and modules. Today it boasts 3 labs for experimentation: the US Lab Destiny, European Lab Columbus, and its largest lab, Japan's Kaibo, which is a word meaning hope. Now, Kaibo features an exposed section of the facility which allows research to be done in the vacuum of space. These labs are all located in the forward section of the station. On the port side, a connecting node called Tranquility was added. Attached to Tranquility is 3 parts: the cupola, an observation station which provides a 360-degree view of Earth and space; Leonardo, a module where all of their waste is stored; and finally, the Bigelow Expandable Activity Module, BEAM for short. BEAM was developed by NASA and is a first-of-its-kind module. It expands in space and was developed to see the stress on a habitat outside of Earth's atmosphere. And finally, we have the iconic solar panels attached to the truss that stretches from starboard to port. Together, they harness the power of the sun to provide electricity to the station. From its first module, Zarya, to today, $150 billion has been spent on the station for various additions and upgrades. Through contracts with SpaceX and Boeing, continued upgrades and additions can be made well into the future. Now, if you think all of that is impressive, remember when I said it flew by at speeds I couldn't even begin to understand? Altogether, this football field-sized behemoth circles the Earth at a mind-boggling speed of 28,000 kilometers an hour. That's 7.66 kilometers a second. In terms of miles, that would be 17,500 miles per hour, or 5 miles a second. Just imagine that for a second. Billions of dollars in equipment and scientific devices are flying above our heads every single day. Possibly going over your head right now, and for the most part, we don't even notice. It makes a complete circle around the Earth approximately every hour and a half. Those on board get to see a breathtaking 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets a day. The whole station is a marvel, and if you ever decide to see it for yourself, you can. Through station trackers online, you can see where it will fly over next, and if you're lucky enough to see it pass over at night, take a look. If the sky is clear, you'll know it when you see it. Trust me. Since its ascension into the sky, the ISS has made leaps in scientific discoveries. Everything from creating a fifth state of matter through laser cooling, helping with drug production for diseases like cancer, even comparing the effects a year in space does to a person with their own twin brother back on Earth. They have done so much. Thanks to its partner programs with other space agencies, the ISS continues to make discoveries like these every day, making it not just a leap for scientific advancement, but also a symbol for what we can accomplish by setting our differences aside and cooperating with each other. With an incredible size and scale of this model, it's an excellent representation of the real space station, with the exception of one part that I'll get to here in a moment. The stand it comes with makes it easy to place anywhere in your home or office. When I was building the base, I was kind of worried at first that the space station wouldn't sit properly in it. It's a little worrisome when you're looking at the station and the back end of it does hang out quite a bit past the legs of the stand. But once you place the station in it, it does clip in nicely. It sits perfectly and it does stay balanced. Unless you're really trying, you're not going to bump into this thing and knock it off the stand. The stand itself also includes some decorative pieces. Down here in the bottom you get a nice printed plaque, and in between the two legs the space shuttle sits. It would be nice if the space shuttle could attach to the actual station, but unfortunately it doesn't because of these round plates on the bottom. You'd have to remove those and even add a piece to the proper location on the station if you wanted to have it attach while you were. Functionality wise, this set is designed for displaying, so there's no play features, but it does come with some posable parts that rotate or move up and down. The solar panels, the heat shields, the Canadarm2, and the two truss sections, they all can rotate and move so that when you're displaying it, you can display it at angles that you would like people to see it. In terms of representation, they did a great job of making this accurate to the actual space station, right down to the littlest of details. These are the labs here in the front. There's the Canadarm, the rear modules of Zarya, Zvezda, and Unity. You can even see the Cupola, Beam, and Leonardo onto the side. They did a really good job at making this as accurate as they possibly could. Now that being said, there is some sections that I couldn't match up to any official NASA images. Here in the aft section, there's two issues that I kind of found. It seemed like there were too many solar panels. Now, technically in the images I was looking at, they could have been retracted or rotated differently, so maybe they were there, but you just couldn't tell in the images. As well, this section here appears to just be additional. I couldn't find it on any images that I looked up of the space station, and maybe it's possible it was there at one point and it's no longer there, but it shows up in the instructions to put. But when you look at the box art or even the completed set image featured in the instructions, it's not on it. So why the instructions have you put it there but then they don't feature it on any official image, I really don't know. If you have any kind of idea, please leave a comment below and maybe you can answer that question for me, because I couldn't find any answer. Overall, I really enjoy building the set, and thanks to its sturdy display, it can be placed just about anywhere in your home, and with the size and scale and posability of it, you can make it look good just about anywhere you want to put it. It was fun to build, with the only repetitive section kind of being the solar panels, which, you know, that's to be expected. That was going to happen no matter what. And I did wish it had the ability to attach the space shuttle to the model without modifying either the station or the shuttle, and I still don't understand what that extra part is, but maybe one of you has an answer. Other than that, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. This has been Untold History. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe.